Hello and welcome to Rabbit Hole Research. I am Chevy Cool Lady. Jumping down a mother of a rabbit hole, please join me as we find some mind-blowing, worldwide connections to the demise of Tartaria and High Order of St. George and the symbol Tri of the Elite. We were not taught anything about what appears to be one of the largest and technology-advanced civilizations ever in the history of mankind. Bloomberg has tried relentlessly to debunk the whole idea by calling it a QAnon conspiracy, saying that the Baroque fantasy does not offer much in the way of practical considerations. But does it? Is there logic and evidence that would support the idea of the Tartarian race and the advanced architecture that is no longer feasible to build? And if the race did exist, then what happened to them? And was their history obscured by a bunch of malevolent actors who rewrote history to suit their diabolical ends? And what about the symbolism we see in the flags and art pieces from the region where Tartaria may have been? This seems to be a point of contention and is highly disagreed upon by many modern scholars. Studying Tartaria is not easy. It is a compilation of historical fragments and documents that present an alternate history than that which was taught to us in the school system. The overall premise is a vast, advanced empire which emanated from North-Central Asia and influenced and built infrastructure throughout the whole world, says Joachim Scar, who runs the Tartarian Meltdown on YouTube, and is a worldwide civilization built on love, unity, peace, and harmony, which we do not see in today's society, and declined as recently as the early 1900s due to a cataclysm or antagonistic force. Tartaria fell, its buildings destroyed or buried along with its history. After this, the Great Reset came into play. The surviving examples of Tartarian architectures were falsely recast as works of contemporary builders who could have never executed buildings of such grace and beauty. When we look into the narratives that are given to such places, we see the same stories repeat themselves, and what is worse is how much of these magnificent structures were demolished as well. The Singer Building in New York City is one such example. Once the tallest building in the world, knocked down in just a few decades, it is given to us that this particular building was built by Ernest Flagg and completed in 1908. A real showstopper built for the Singer Sewing Machine Company. From a wide base, the slender 27-story building, tower rose and was topped with a Mansford roof and delicate lantern spire. Every inch dripped with exquisite detail. Vaulted roofs, marble columns, bronze trim, window mullions, spiral flutings, and stood 612 feet high. In the 1960s, the company sold the space, and shortly thereafter it was demolished. For some, this story is just too outrageous to believe. I happen to agree. The Singer Building, along with countless other beautiful remnants and landmarks, are artifacts of a bygone era and civilization that has been hidden from our eyes. But it is with our eyes that we are slowly decoding the evidence of our past. Could it be that this past civilization was the 1,000-year reign of Christ that was foretold in the scriptures? Is that the reason for the cover-up? There is no real way to tell at this juncture. It is merely an idea, but one that seems to make sense to me at this time. Gets put on ornate and pre-modern structures like the Beaux-Arts buildings. I have pictured the top 8 of the Beaux-Arts buildings. The first is the Grand Palais in Paris, France. The second is NYC's Grand Central Terminal. Third is the Palais Garnier, again in Paris. The fourth is the Teatro Colón in Argentina. Fifth is the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. Sixth is San Francisco City Hall. and is considered the ultimate Beaux-Arts monument of this style. Seventh is the Petit Palais. Again in Paris, we are told this is a structure that was most popular at the 1900s World Fair, interestingly enough, and was designed by a former student of the Beaux-Arts Academy who just whipped this up for the exposition. Number 8 sums up this list and is called the Arcade du Cinquantenaire in Brussels, Belgium. We are told this is a military museum, an auto world, and an art history museum and was completed in 1905. That doesn't seem too likely, but I am sure if we dug into these narratives, they all would seem out of place. That is a video for another day. I just wanted to touch base and show you some of the Tartarian architecture that I was speaking of earlier. There are a lot of theories and ideas of who these people were and how they may have lives. I have covered these things in some of my other videos, so I don't want to spend too much time on these things here. I was wondering what St. George has to do with Tartaria. I was raised Catholic and am interested in the stories of the saints. I am also interested in the symbols associated with Freemasonry and such. So why is there so much art? I am also an artist, and even a lag with the old guy on it. And look at the victory over the flag we have seen associated with Tartaria. So what happened here? I don't know much about Russian wars, and I must say I am learning some interesting things, and I will share my research findings. I am open to any and all information. Nothing is pat. We are just First, I want to take a look at St. George. Who is he? Why do we see him winning the victory over what seems to be the Tartarian Griffin? How is he related to Freemasonry? How does a reset population come into play? And why does Nephilim seem to be romantic with Alexander Tsar of Russia? Was there a secret alliance against Tartaria? Let's stay till the end to find the answers. The legend of St. George has been told in many cultures. It is based on folk stories and has little historical evidence, we are told. Basically, the story goes, St. George saved a princess from a dragon, or some accounts say a sea monster. While traveling through Libya, he came upon a city who was being tormented by a dragon who demanded a human sacrifice to appease his hunger. The town drew lots, and one day the lot fell upon the daughter of the king. She was taken to the dragon's lair and was left to be devoured. The brave knight, George, went to combat the dragon and wounded him with his lance. He then captured the dragon and led it to town using the princess's belt. Once in the village, he killed the mighty dragon in exchange for the town's conversion to Christianity. The king offered George many rewards which were refused. The knight only asked that he build a church and take care of the poor. So, he was revered as a hero and a saint. St. George is the patron saint of Georgia in Russia. Also, they celebrate his feast day with candles, slaughtering and eating a sheep that symbolizes St. George slaughtering the dragon, and decorating the houses with green branches, symbolizing victory over evil. He is said to have appeared and fought battles alongside the Russians in battles around the year 1121 and 1202. St. George is the patron saint of farmers and is a model of faith, virtue, and courage. So it is said. St. George is revered by the Church of England and is, in fact, the patron saint of England whose cross became an integral part of the Union Jack flag. What is this link? Why was a man who lived and died in the 3rd century so important that he is venerated as patron saint to some major world powers and is also linked to the Knights Templar? There isn't much historical fact and really just a few stories about this guy. So there must be more to the mystery than meets the eye. By diving directly into the Order of St. George, let's see what may be hidden in plain sight. We just have to look. In France, we see St. George is connected to many regions and was present at many Marian apparitions. He is associated with a badge with his cross and red roses, which is very interesting as we may see a tie to the Freemasons and Rosicrucians. St. George, celebrated hero and saint, venerated with his cross and roses. An order of the secret society and tied to the Cross of Malta and the Knights Templar. Let's look a little deeper into this secret order. There is a story, not backed up by any facts that I could find. The story is intriguing, and as we know, rumors often have their start in fact. And it is a possible link and theory as to why St. George is so highly praised. While traveling in Libya, the brave knight George was perplexed as to how he could kill the wicked dragon. He had heard of a ring with awesome magical powers. A ring which even controlled the demons. A ring that was inscribed by God himself and given to Solomon, by whose knowledge was the great temple built in Jerusalem. Maybe he didn't rescue the king's daughter, as we are told. Maybe he captured the ring known as Solomon's Seal. A powerful tool in spiritual warfare. Let's get a feel for this ring, as it is a source of hidden knowledge. And maybe a blueprint of the heavenlies. Please leave any knowledge about this ring, if you will, in the comment box. The ring, according to Wiki, is based on the wisdom given by God to Solomon, said to reflect cosmic order, movement of the stars, the flow between heaven and earth, and the elements of air and fire. The seal is often depicted as a pentagram or hexagram. The spas have unique interpretations. In legendary accounts, the signet ring, developed in Jewish mysticism, Islamic mysticism, and Western occultism. This symbol was also important in medieval magic and Renaissance magic, occultism, and alchemy. Another correlation with secret societies, the Surrey represents the merging of opposites, the merging of masculine and feminine, spiritual and physical, and divine and human. If you're interested in secret societies and alchemy, you might want to check out my video on the 7 stages of alchemy and the New World Order. The ties to St. George run deep and cross all the oceans, even to America, where a little-known story is celebrated which established the High Order of St. George in America. I came across this interesting story on the internet and realized this is my American link, and of course, it involves Freemasons and this order of knights, warriors who came to oppose a gang of Irish immigrants in the coal mines of Pennsylvania. The gang is reported to cross-dress and commit their crimes pressure from the big wigs who own the mines to run them as cheaply as possible. All the stories regarding the Irish demanded to be treated fairly and not be undercut by the newly immigrating cultures from Southern Europe, back in these days. That is exactly what the state of a mid-Civil War in America was like. The 19th century secret society, often called Molly Maguires, were active in Ireland, Liverpool, and America. They would leave coffin notes, as they were called, to anyone who did not comply with their demands. They were best known for their activism in the Pennsylvania coal mines among Irish immigrants. After a series of violent attacks, the band was infiltrated and betrayed, turned over to the authorities. But the authorities were not of the official state. A private corporation initiated the investigation through a private detective agency, the Pinkertons, and a private police force arrested the Mollys, prosecuted them, and hung 6 of them to gain back control over the mines. And it would seem that the private companies were owned by the Order of St. George. It seems the Mollys evolved into the ancient Order of the Hibernians. The Order of St. George, they are looked on as heroes in a turbulent and violent one. As the Irish immigrants rose in class standing in America and began fighting for better livelihoods, it challenged the Anglo-Saxon dominance of the elite in the politico-economic spheres. The Order of St. George was aimed at preserving the values and interests of the English-Americans and to counter the Irish-American Catholic community. The Order of St. George also promoted and protected the mining industry from disruptions caused by the fractions like Molly Maguires. The Order of St. George is rich and high-ranking throughout the whole world and seems to be charged with protecting the financial ventures of the elite regardless of what affiliations a person or group may have. They are a secret society who is deemed to have conquered the dragon. Is that because they have power over the dragon in the form of sacred knowledge, like the Seal of Solomon? Are the demons at their beck and call? Do they use the power of the dragon to defeat their enemies? Were the wars just rouses to destroy the architecture of the old world? Was the War of 1812 the last stand against the remnants of Tartaria? Those paintings of Alexander and Napoleon looked awfully chummy for enemies, don't you think? And the identical uniforms make me think they may have been fighting a common enemy. We don't know for sure, but we will continue to seek the truth. Peace and love, truth seekers. Chevy Cool Lady is out.